I ain't told you I ain't taking pictures of that girl.
You girls stay away from him.
Come here, kid.
There's leaked footage and audio going viral of his own godmother allegedly trying to sleep with him, and this predatory behavior has the whole hip-hop community talking. The shocking truth behind what's been happening in Youngboy's personal life is darker than anyone imagined, and we're about to break down every detail that's got the internet going crazy right now. Real talk. We about to dive deep into some disturbing family dynamics that's been shaking up the rap game, and this story is gonna leave you speechless by the end. Now, before we get into this wild situation, let me keep it 100 with y'all. There's been rumors circulating about NBA Youngboy's godmother for years, but these new leaked videos and audio recordings have taken everything to a whole different level. This whole mess started when Kentrell Gaulden, that's Youngboy's real name, was just a troubled kid in Baton Rouge trying to survive in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in America. That's when his godmother, Kyrie Oliver, first entered his life through a mentorship program. We're talking about allegations of grooming, inappropriate relationships, and power dynamics that'll make your skin crawl. But here's where it gets real spicy. Youngboy himself has been dropping hints about this situation in his music for years. So check it. Let me break down how this twisted relationship started. Back in the early 2000s, Kyrie Oliver was working as a counselor for the Marine Corps program at Capitol Middle School in Baton Rouge. Her job was to mentor at-risk youth, kids struggling academically, kids from poverty, kids on the verge of being swallowed up by the streets. In North Baton Rouge, where Youngboy grew up, we're talking about a literal war zone. No cap. Young boys were getting recruited by gangs before they hit puberty. Fathers were locked up or dead, mothers were struggling to survive, and kids like Kentrell were falling through the cracks. Kyrie was 24 years old when she was assigned to work with 6th grade students, and Kentrell Gaulden was one of those 6th graders, a kid already showing signs of trauma and anger that would later fuel his music. But here's the real tea. Youngboy's mother, Sharonda, wasn't really in the picture like that back then. She was young herself, trying to figure out her own life while dealing with her baby daddy, Jeffrey Tate, being locked up for 55 years on armed robbery and attempted murder charges. So when Kyrie came around offering to mentor Kentrell, it probably seemed like a blessing. She saw potential in him that others didn't see. While teachers were writing him off as another statistic, Kyrie believed he could be something more. The Marine Corps program was supposed to be temporary, but even after it ended, Kyrie stayed in Kentrell's life. She continued to mentor him, and according to her own statements, she was there for him when he had nobody else. But yo, this is where the story gets deeper than just a typical mentor-student relationship. According to multiple sources, Kyrie became so involved in Kentrell's life that she eventually became his godmother. This wasn't just professional anymore. This was supposed to be family. Now, let me break down something important. When an adult takes that kind of interest in a child, especially a child who's been abandoned or neglected, it creates a powerful emotional bond. That child becomes dependent on that adult for validation, support, and love. And that dependency can be exploited if the adult has bad intentions. Before we can fully understand Kyrie's role, we need to talk about the woman who was truly Youngboy's everything, his grandmother, Alice Gaulden. Because Kyrie didn't step in when Youngboy had nobody. She stepped in when he had his grandmother. And when his grandmother passed away, the void left was something nobody could fill. My grandma was my everything, Youngboy said in interviews. That was my protection, my comfort, my protector. Alice Gaulden's house became Kentrell's sanctuary, while the streets outside were filled with violence. Inside her home was the only place where he felt safe and loved. When Alice Gaulden passed away around 2017 to 2018, NBA Youngboy lost the only person who had ever loved him unconditionally. When she died, I ain't never felt that feeling again, Youngboy said, referring to the feeling of being truly loved. This is where Kyrie's role becomes more significant and more questionable. According to sources, Kyrie was there for Youngboy during one of the darkest periods of his life. When Alice Gaulden died and Youngboy was dealing with grief and legal troubles, Kyrie stepped up. Youngboy ended up spending 2 years on house arrest in Utah, and Kyrie allegedly helped facilitate that arrangement. This was huge. House arrest in Utah, away from Baton Rouge violence, gave Youngboy space to focus on his music and build his career. Now, let's talk about what really has fans disturbed. The leaked footage shows questionable interactions between Youngboy and Kyrie. In these videos, you can see them chilling in what appears to be a bedroom, with her laying on the bed, acting way too comfortable for someone who's supposed to be a mother figure. But the part that really got fans talking was when she looked directly at the camera and said, "All y'all girls stay away from him."
You girls stay away from him.
Let that sink in for a minute, fam. Why would a godmother be telling other women to stay away from her godson like she's marking her territory? The way she said it wasn't like a protective mother figure. The tone, the body language, the whole vibe was more like a woman claiming ownership over a man. And when you consider this is supposed to be his godmother, someone who knew him as a child, it becomes disturbing. In other leaked audio, you can hear conversations between them that sound more like intimate partners than godmother and godson. The tone is flirtatious, the conversation topics are inappropriate, and the overall dynamic is completely wrong. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. In 2020, NBA Youngboy dropped a song called I'm Bored. And in that track, he said something that made everybody do a double take. He literally rapped, "My godmother wanna sleep with me, I thought I was your child." Real talk, when I first heard that line, I had to replay it because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This is NBA Youngboy publicly stating that his godmother, the woman who was supposed to protect him, wanted to have a physical relationship with him. For those who know Youngboy's music, you know he doesn't sugarcoat nothing. He's brutally honest about his experiences. So when he says something like this, it's not for shock value. It's based on real experiences. The second part is just as important. I thought I was your child. That's a statement of confusion, betrayal, and hurt. He's saying, you were supposed to be my family, and now you want something from me that you should never want. Some fans theorize that Kyrie's feelings toward Youngboy changed once he became rich and famous. When he was just Cantrell, a broke kid, she was his mentor. But once he became NBA Youngboy, the millionaire rapper, maybe she started seeing him differently. As if this wasn't strange enough, Kyrie recently got NBA Youngboy's name tattooed on her body. When fans found out, the internet went crazy. Why would a godmother get her godson's name tattooed on her? This wasn't some small tribute. This was a prominent tattoo she was proud to show off. The tattoo suggests an obsession, a level of attachment that goes beyond normal god-parent relationships. Combined with Youngboy's explicit statement in his music, it paints a picture of a woman who crossed boundaries that should never be crossed. But here's what really got people talking. Youngboy's mother, Sharonda, threw shade at Kyrie on Instagram. After Kyrie did an interview talking about stepping into Youngboy's life because his mother wasn't around, Sharonda posted, "Where was I when other people were raising my kids? Two sides to every story, don't make me humble your ass." That last part, "don't make me humble your ass," sounds like a threat to expose something about Kyrie. What does Sharonda know that she's not telling? What information does she have that could damage Kyrie's reputation? The bigger picture. This ain't just about NBA Youngboy and his godmother. This is about power dynamics and exploitation. When adults are in positions of authority over children, there's an inherent power imbalance that can be exploited. The entertainment industry has a long history of adults exploiting young talent. Young artists from poverty are particularly vulnerable because they're desperate for success and willing to tolerate inappropriate behavior if they think it will help their careers. Youngboy came from nothing. When Kyrie offered mentorship and support, he probably felt grateful and indebted to her. If she developed inappropriate feelings, he would have been in an incredibly difficult position. How do you reject someone who helped you when you had nothing? The real conversation we need to have is about how society treats male victims. When a young man is involved with an older woman, people often don't take it seriously. They make jokes, act like it's not a big deal. But if the genders were reversed, everyone would recognize it as predatory and wrong. Youngboy's lyric is a cry for help, a statement of confusion and betrayal. When someone who's supposed to protect you becomes someone you need protection from, it creates lasting trauma that affects every relationship going forward. Youngboy once said, "Only time I ever feel love is when I walk on stage." And that's one of the saddest statements a person can make. He lost his grandmother, the only person who loved him unconditionally, and then allegedly had his trust violated by someone who was supposed to fill that void. The fact that Youngboy still maintains contact with Kyrie despite everything suggests the psychological manipulation runs deep. Victims of grooming often struggle to cut ties with their abusers, especially when those abusers were also sources of support during vulnerable times. At the end of the day, Youngboy's situation isn't just about inappropriate relationships. It's about trust, betrayal, and lasting trauma on a young man who's been through more than most people experience in a lifetime. Kyrie may have helped him in some ways, but if she violated his trust and crossed boundaries, then her help came at a cost that Youngboy will carry forever. What we can say for certain is that NBA Youngboy deserved better. He deserved adults who protected him without expecting anything in return. He deserved mentors who maintained appropriate boundaries. As fans, we need to take his words seriously when he tells us something was wrong. We need to believe male victims when they speak up, and we need to hold adults accountable when they abuse their positions of power. What are your thoughts on this situation? Do you think Kyrie crossed the line? What do you think Sharonda knows that she's not telling? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you're subscribed because we're going to keep bringing you the real stories behind your favorite artists. Peace, fam.